man. Here we go.
I
All right.
know.
So my turn. I wanted to talk tech.
Yes.
And we are part of our plan is to do some investigations to check things out, both from the myth and the historical side and what's there and really happened. Also from the going out and being at the location side and checking it with Gina and see if she brings anything out, experiences anything. And then with me with the tech doing the normal things with cameras and stuff like that as much as we can, videos, pictures, and analyzing
Oh,
them. That was a demon cat. That's going to be
well,
another episode. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the tech and some and with that some videos and pictures. So jump in with thoughts and anything on you guys. I'll just get started. Um, Basically, from everything I've seen, from everything I know, and what people can do, I would have to say any photo or video now that is on the internet is pretty much unbelievable that it's not fake in some way.
Mhm.
There's some caveats to that. Um, Part of it is the tools are so easy to get and they're so easy to use. And I'll show you that here in a little bit, that it makes it difficult. So the problem is because we all know that they can be faked so easily, it's hard to believe anything. And that makes it tough. The other issue is, and Ron, this is why I asked you about your picture from Gretchen's
Mhm.
Lock, which we'll get to, is because when you take pictures with the digital, unlike old film, what happens is it will compress it down to a certain size. So if you look, a lot of the cameras on our phones, you can set them to more natural raw footage, which is a really big file size. But by default, it has a smaller file size. So what happens is automatically when you take a picture, it compresses it. And what that does is it puts little artifacts throughout the picture. So right away, again, the use of phones and digital in general makes it hard to say, yes, that's really in the picture. We see it, even without any manipulation. That makes sense to.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So that's the problem with all of this. Plus, if you take a picture and email it to somebody, more than likely your email program compresses it.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that,
It becomes like a copy of a copy of a copy at that point. So
yes.
it becomes denigrated.
Yeah. So basically, it makes it hard to believe anything that's out there. And I know Colin and I were talking, I think Ron, you and I talked that when we do our investigations, we do pictures, we do videos, I want to take as raw of the footage as we can, the raw pictures with no image going through anything, and put it up on the website for people to browse through. If we have 4 hours of video, we put the whole 4 hours up there without any manipulation, editing, compressing, or anything. And if people can want to download it, it'll probably be huge. They can scour through it. And Colin had the idea that we look through the footage, each of us separately, and if we think we see or hear something, we get the timestamp, but without any interaction between us. And then we compare timestamps. Oh, all three of us saw something at 1:30, so that might be something there.
Yep.
And then when we have it on the net, if other people come back with, yeah, I saw something at 1:30, what do you think? We're like, okay, other people are without us saying anything. And that's one of the things like ghost hunters and all the ghost shows don't do. They they will have four people and they each get a different tape or a different file to look through. And then they see something, they go, hey, look right here. Do you see something? Because I think I see something. Well, that's biased because it right away.
Right. That happens all the time with the EVPs as well too.
Right.
They'll tell you what it says, and then they'll play it. And of course, the human mind wants to hear what they just told us we're listening to.
Right.
That becomes so. I mean, that's just par for the course now. You hear a lot of static, and all of a sudden they can say, "Can you hear?" You know, it said your name, and then of course you're going to hear their name being said because they
Right.
put it in your mind.
Right. So our thought is like when we go to Gretchen, if we set up any cameras or if we take pictures, we don't comment on them on what we think we saw or what we might have gotten. We just
Right.
put them up in the raw form, and people can download them and scour them. And honestly, that might be one of the best things we could do. If we
Mm.
get some amateur people that say, "Oh, yeah, I want to help look at this stuff,"
Mm.
and we get crowdfund it. We get 100 people scouring the same video, more chance of seeing, if 85 people all say at 1 minute and 30 seconds there's something, then there's a better chance of it's something than just two people.
I love the idea.
So, and so now some of the other things, and we'll look at some pictures. And I've been looking into how to fake stuff, and it's pretty easy. Um, if it's a still picture, it's so easy to fake it and add in images and ghosts. If it's a video with a still camera that's not moving, it's easy to fake that also, because you can get a duplicate, overlay it, and put on the second layer the image that's faded, or get a green screen. And I mean, with stuff I can buy off Amazon, I can fake videos. Now, what's your thought, guys? I'm still learning, but a moving video where it's kind of shaky is a lot harder to fake.
Mm.
For example, if we talk about the Gimlin film, um, we know because of the time period, it's not computer graphics, but we also can know that because they've done image manipulation and centered it on the figure. So even though everything's shaky around it, they can stabilize that part of it, and you can tell it's not overlaid. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I see the videos, when we watch stuff online, I see a static camera. That's easy to fake. If I see someone moving and you catch something, that's not so easy.
Mm.
But then we also have the problem of the pareidolia,
Mm.
and just the
Oh,
artifacts of, well, that looks like it could be something, and then
Right.
our mind sees it.
Yeah.
um,
And the shakiness. I'm sorry about that, Colin. The shakiness of cameras as well too. To me, is sometimes a giveaway that they are not wanting you to see clearly
Yeah,
what they're
that's a
trying to
problem.
capture. You know?
yeah, I was gonna say it moving. It may mean it's harder to fake using like CG and stuff, but it could also mean that they're trying to make it harder for you to see it in the
Right.
first place.
So you can't
Like
see the wires.
there were several Bigfoot videos that were done by pranksters in the UK. And basically what they did was they had a guy in a $20 ape suit walking back and forth, and they would just like shake the camera back and forth like it's a bad action movie.
Right.
And then it kind of looked convincing.
Right.
Yes.
And it's so easy to do.
Are we going to take a look at the Patterson Gimlin film, like Stephen, by chance?
I didn't have it up, but we can probably grab it real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
I will say we're talking about like high tech stuff. Now, again, I don't know a whole lot about tech in general. Would using film and traditional film cameras and stuff be better? I know it's more expensive with like getting the photos developed and everything, but would that be more reasonable, or is the tech still there
Well-
today where we could manipulate that too?
Well, here's the thing: if you have the original raw footage, it would be harder to fake something on that without being able to detect it. If it's imported into a computer and then they say, "Oh, look what I got," well, it's the same as everything else then. Um,
Right.
uh,
I just meant like the other thing too is like with like film cameras, you take a picture, you don't know if you got it or not.
right.
Mhm.
And I mean, also filming like 6 hours of footage with those type of cameras would be very expensive and very like unreasonable to get. But I feel like maybe cryptozoologists should have like a Polaroid camera or something in their backpack just in case they see Bigfoot, and it might be like a better thing to take Bigfoot's picture
Right.
with.
Well, I've often thought, and I'm not sure if they even have them, but if a game camera that takes very small bursts of images could somehow utilize film instead of video.
But like you said, it's finding it. There's only
Yep.
a few select places now that make it.
Right, right.
And again, though, with the cameras, and Colin, you may not know this, when you take a picture with a 35 millimeter camera, it creates a negative, and they use those negatives then to process the actual picture. So
Yeah,
if
I
you
knew
got
that.
so if you got the process picture and the negative you can see on the negative, it's harder, especially today, actually, to fake that because people don't have the skills and the materials.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's why I suggested maybe the like regular the old type of cameras.
yeah, and honestly, I'd be up for looking for one to see if we could find one, see if we can
Right.
find some film.
Oh, I don't know about like non-Polaroid cameras, but Polaroid cameras are getting a resurgence because they're chic. They're fun. They're coming back in the same way vinyls are coming back. Old technology is cute again.
Yeah, it's retro.
Right.
Exactly.
Um,
Um, yeah. The thing about Polaroids though is you don't have very good. They're very limited on what you can do. It's okay if you're all standing at a birthday cake, but if you want to take something that has a horizon in it, it's very shoddy.
yeah. We'd have to find some very high end camera with good uh, lenses.
Mm.
And that's a photography skill that I don't have, but
Yeah. The other thing too, whenever it comes to these things, well, what's important to me, especially from the way that I research, is the provenance behind it as well too. Especially with the Patterson Gimlin film, it's one of those things where I really want to know what the backstory is, and I want to know why people were out there with a camera, because I think that can be almost as telling as what
right.
images are captured.
Absolutely. And we've talked about this about some of the other stuff, especially the ones you see on the net. It's like starts in the middle of something. You
Mm.
see 15 seconds and then it cuts off, but it's much more believable and much more integrity if you give us the whole 30 minutes beforehand and 3 more minutes afterwards or whatever.
Yes, that's right. That's
You know,
right.
that
No, I
that's
agree.
why
I agree.
that's why I said, I don't want to. I mean, yes, I want to go through any of our footage and see what we find, but I want to put the raw footage up and see what others find too. Here's
Yeah.
everything, not just 30 seconds worth.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching a video the other day, and it was like, I think the video was something like, an hour long or something, and they only give you like 5 minutes of it. And
Right.
you really want to know what comes before and afterwards. You don't want to just get right there to what's going on. And I'll tell you what, after I saw that video, I immediately canceled my Pornhub subscription because I really want to know what's going on the whole entire time.
Well, there goes the family friendliness. um, but yeah, you're right because it makes it. Again, we've mentioned this. We want to keep our integrity, and when you cut it and put pieces up, it makes it seem. Uh,
It muddies the waters a bit.
yes, and here's what I want to do and suggest, and I don't know why more people don't do this, especially the shows on TV that have big budgets. They always take one camera and put it in the hallway to point that way. And then they go to another room, put one camera pointing that way. And then anytime you get anything, when you have one camera, it's going to be questioned. Is that a shadow? Is that smoke? Did they manipulate the image? If I have three cameras set up with different angles in the room and we only get a moving shadow on one, then it's questionable as to what it is. But if we got two cameras catching the same moving shadow, that is a lot harder to fake and make it look the same. Even if it's not the $5,000 ultra camera, if we have some good some of the new cameras, I mean, for $100 you can get a really good camera, but that's also why I'm working on the stuff with the Raspberry Pi, because we can get multiple cameras to take pictures for like $45 a piece. So I'm working on that. Um, all right, so I'm going to share my screen. We've got some videos and some pictures. I've been learning more about faking things, learning more about image manipulation. Now, there is, and some people have probably heard this, you guys might have heard this, about image forensics and video forensics, where people analyze it to try and figure it out. There are places online now that will do that you can put an image in and you can look at it through different filters. I looked at it and I had no idea what I was looking at. So that's knowledge I need to gain. But I took a picture I had and manipulated it to put some fake orbs on it. And I ran both of them through the forensic program. And I couldn't tell myself that those orbs were added in. So I'm not sure what people are thinking when they do that. But the other problem is they're getting images from online that's already been compressed, already been manipulated by putting it online. So I don't think any forensics would do anything to those. So, all
Where
right.
did you
What?
Where did you get the program at, the forensics program?
I gotta find it. It's in beta. I'll put a link for all you guys. I'll put a link in the show notes. Um, it was very, very interesting. I just question how valuable it really is if you grab it from online. If it's a raw image that you got from a camera, might be better. Or better yet, there are people out there that can look at things. We got a couple here that we've got examples. So let me share a picture. Okay, is this it?
To my knowledge, most of the time when people are looking at whether or not a photo specifically was faked, they're looking at if they're talking stuff was added to later, they're looking for I don't think that's a
Yeah, that's what I want. Me and Gina.
yeah, okay. Well, they're looking for the difference in the way the pixels are between the thing that might have been added and then the rest of the picture, and then like they're looking for like artifacts around it specifically, and also for stuff like differences in the way the light hits it and stuff. A lot of it's just kind of looking and guessing, to my knowledge.
Well, then I just need more practice and a little more information on what the filters do. So, okay, so I'm assuming everybody can see the picture, me and Gina standing. This was a Halloween, obviously. We were going out for a date.
Stole
So-
my coat.
This is just your Thursday wear.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
So, okay, so I took this and I added some orbs in. So, oops. Oh, now I got to share it. Sorry.
You
hold
guys
on.
are gone.
Yeah. Let me share that. How's that? That better? Okay. So now there's orbs. It's the same picture. All I did was get a little bit of the airbrush dot on my image program, and I put a couple dots in with slightly different intensities. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, that doesn't look any different than most of the orb pictures you see out on the net. And
Well-
I was able to do it with my limited skills.
If you want to fake orbs, you don't even need that. You just need some dust. Just shake it around in front of the camera by the light source, wait a second, and then take the picture, and there'll be orbs everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. I know what you're talking about, though. This could easily be somebody's wedding day, and all of a sudden you see the husband and the wife and the grandmother coming as a visitation to this.
Right.
I do see, again, there has to be a backstory. And Colin, I know what you're talking about as well, too. But in lieu of a dusty room, this is the next best thing that you could possibly do.
Right.
I mean, well, their bugs can cause orbs,
Oh,
reflections
sure.
of the light. Like there's a million things that can create orbs.
Yeah. But sometimes orbs are that is the only thing going for a lot of pictures to be deemed paranormal by a lot of people, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't put a lot of weight into it.
Right. Again,
Less than many others.
well, again, it goes back to the integrity of where you got the picture, who got it to you. If there's any other, are there, did they take one picture and that was it? Or did they take pictures every 30 seconds or something?
So that's a good point, Stephen. So if you took multiple pictures of these, you could keep the orbs in the same position where you could manipulate them in any way you wanted to.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not saying every picture out there is faked. I'm not saying every picture is dust. I'm not saying it's not a spirit or something like that. All I'm saying is it's so easy to fake, it puts into question
Yep.
every picture like that. That's the problem.
I think that this was a great visual aid for this.
Yeah, I know. Isn't she lovely?
Very much so.
She brought the orbs.
No.
We didn't see those orbs, did we, sweetie? I didn't see them.
No.
That's what you always hear, right?
When she steps in the room, it just becomes electrifying.
Okay. So next we'll go on the video. Now, this one I think everybody may have seen. It's an alien spider climbing a building. We've probably all seen it. But if you look, I get some people claiming it's from India. I get some people claiming it's from Russia. So again, right away, well, there goes the integrity. Nobody knows where it's from. It's, and this one looks silly when you look at it. There's several spots that don't work. The legs like go through the wall and things like that. Can you see the video?
Yeah, are you gonna
Okay.
play it?
Okay. Yep. I'm going to play it. So supposedly this big creature
Oh, right.
crawling up the wall. Now, I'm pretty sure that it was declared later that this and other videos similar to it were actually from college students in their film class. It's just people thought they'd get funny. See right there, one of the legs like goes through
Right.
the edge of the wall.
Yeah.
If you look really close.
Like the
I mean,
old
also-
PlayStation Resident Evil games,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't really move like any animal of that size would.
Colin, it's an alien Spider-Man.
Yeah. Jeez.
But I'm like, it would have to still follow the laws of physics, and to my knowledge, that's not how a quadruped of that size would move.
Yeah,
Sure.
there's one spot where it looks like the leg grows longer to get to a
Mhm.
certain spot.
Oh, you should have said that. It's Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And the other thing, because this did not appear on CNN or any of the news shows, that kind of has a tendency to think that nobody else saw this except for the people with the camera looking out the window.
Right. And that's funny you say that, Ron, because being on the news doesn't make it any more real.
Well, that's true too. That's true.
Look at this.
Oh,
The
right.
next
There's
video.
people on the news.
It's on the news.
So this is true.
It must be. All right. So this one, they claim it's a woolly mammoth. I'll play it. Can you guys hear it?
I can't.
I can't
Okay,
hear
I
her.
didn't
No.
think you could, but we can see it.
Although the gentleman there is looking very, he looks like, why am I doing this?
Did they like
Right.
color coordinate the blazer
That's
and
right.
the tie?
It's copyright, which
Yes.
is weird. So they said this is a woolly mammoth. They got in close, said it's a woolly mammoth. Okay. Now, first of all, I don't know of a single phone nowadays that's not high definition. And, we take some amazing shots. So why is this one so fuzzy?
I mean, this being in Siberia, they may not necessarily have had the access to technology, and this is from 2012.
oh, okay.
So-
right. Yeah.
Okay.
That
Oh, yeah, I
those
see
two
that,
being
sorry.
combined, I mean, the quality of the video is a bit more understandable.
Right. Now, go ahead, Ron.
No, I was going to say, Colin and I actually had spoke very, very briefly about the mammoth earlier. I personally would prefer the mammoth to be alive than any of the other cryptids. This is one of my
Absolutely.
favorite animals from the Pleistocene. They lived up until
4,000.
Yeah. So we're talking about, I've seen some estimates to go even below 3,000 years ago. To put this in perspective, the time of biblical David was around this time. So whenever there was actually being books of the Bible being written, there were still mammoths around. So the pyramids would have been ancient by the time the last mammoth died out, which is absolutely amazing to me. I would hope that someplace in this world there is a remnant population of these creatures. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Places like Wrangel Island that experience a lot of insular dwarfism because these animals will get smaller in isolated pockets, but then also in isolated pockets you have a lot of you don't have a lot of genetic diversity either. So they become very watered down. But I would love for something like this to exist. I truly would. But I'm looking at this. It's not the quality that convinces me so much as almost the image seems to be gliding across the water with very little disturbance to the water at all.
Yes.
Yeah, the first thing I thought when I saw the video was it doesn't leave a wake. An animal larger than an African elephant would leave a wake.
With all this rushing water. Plus, if you look when it's moving, the part that they say is the trunk, it changes And if you
I
look at it,
see. Yep, I see what you're talking about. Yep.
and somebody said that's a bear with a salmon in its mouth.
Oh, right.
Yep.
I can see that.
Yep. If you watch it,
Wow.
that's a bear.
That's the case. Yeah.
I the other thing though too to consider if it was a mammoth, I as far as I know, them, being native to the taiga, they wouldn't be like wading through this water because that could potentially be very dangerous for them. They're gigantic ungulates. That's not a necessarily good thing for them in such frigid temperatures. Bears are a bit different. Because we see elephants today being in water, but mammoths were quite a bit different than modern day elephants.
Yeah. Again, when I looked at it, it does look like a bear to me. And this goes back to the other thing with these pictures, videos, and everything. Part of it is whether you believe what it is or not.
Right. So you've hit the nail again on the proverbial head. The reason why these people, and very genuinely, they may have taken a picture of a bear and then they probably went back to the house and watched it. But the reason why it was able to sell and even appear on the news is because people want these things to be alive, don't they? I mean, that's the thing. This is wish fulfillment to a lot of people.
Right.
I want to believe.
I want to believe. I want to believe that there is a woolly mammoth out there in Siberia someplace.
I mean, Hoovelmans did write about the stiff-legged bear.
He did,
which he thought was mammoths.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, there was a video supposedly from like 1936 or something showing a woolly mammoth, and it's a camcorder type video. So I don't know what they had at that time,
right?
But it's supposedly from some like concentration camp or something right before the war. I'll have to look for that. Maybe we can talk about that again sometime.
And then just to answer Colin's statement, the last video I watched was actually called The Stiff-Legged Bear. So thanks a lot there, Colin, for bringing that up.
Okay. The other thing, Colin and I talked about this earlier, is if you want to believe that something exists, and he went, yeah, okay. What I'm getting at is we talked about like tulpas, that people think of it so much it comes to life, and when you learn a little bit about quantum physics and mechanics, you find that they've done experiments that at that level, the quantum level, when they observe the experiments, the results change than if the experiment is not being observed. And they can reproduce that. It's crazy. My thing is maybe some of these things don't really exist unless we are really thinking about them. And I know Colin jumps on that, but I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm not saying this is true, but the possibility exists.
So, and I agree. And I've done a lot of writing on the philosophy behind this as well too. But can tulpas then be photographed?
I guess it depends on what we from that as the basis. If it is related to something in the quantum realm, it could be if it comes into being. You know what I'm saying? If it really now exists.
Right. Yeah, that's a real question though, isn't it? Whether it exists in the mind or somehow takes a physical form in reality.
Right. And that's something I'd like to explore a little more. That's just kind of touching on because I'm still learning a lot about that type of thing. So anyway, all right, the next one. Bigfoot in Tampa.
Nice.
The play. All right, these two, I'll put a link in the show notes to the video.
This one's just a photo, so you could probably jump to where they show it and then pause it.
Oh, it's just, I thought there was a video behind this.
No, it's just a single still.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I see what appears to be a nose and a mouth and some white beard. Oh, it has like a white stripe. It's like a skunk type.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a swamp thing.
It's a swamp creature, right?
And it's not bad. I mean, they put shadow in.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, but to me, it looks like it sticks out if you
Mm.
see it bigger. And again, I'll put links in. But the funny thing is, somebody did do forensics on it and looked at the data in the thing and said, well, this comes from Photoshop. It says it right in the saving of the picture.
Oh, right,
And
right, right.
and the guy who took it claimed, oh, but I just opened it in Photoshop and resaved it from there so I can save it on my computer. Well,
Right.
okay, then give us the raw photo again.
Yeah. Huh. It's
So
interesting. You,
I
you don't see any ripples around the body.
I also feel like one, granting this is a big ape of the swamp variety, why would it just kind of be sitting in the water?
yeah, looking at
Um
them.
and also, if you look at the way the trees are, it kind of looks like the ground is just a little bit under the water
Right.
because you can kind of see where the roots have
Oh,
started and
good
everything.
point. Good point.
And the shadows, there should be a lot more like converging shadows on him than I would think than are being shown because of how much stuff is above him. And the angle of the shadows is different than the angle of his shadow that he is creating, despite the fact that the sun is the only light source that would be creating these shadows.
That's a really good point, Colin.
Yeah. So
I think that they took a picture of something actually there. The white is what gives it away. I'm thinking this might be one of those taxidermy swamp boogers, and the white that you see is actually the deer's behind. It's very well done, but I think that this is a bust of a one of these kind of swamp boogers done very very well, and they just kind of plopped it into the water, and it's like either floating there or maybe an inch or two under the water.
I don't know. I feel like it I don't know. It looks more to me because of the way the shadows are and everything. It looks more to me like they took a picture of an ape, slapped the white on it,
yeah.
and put it in behind the twigs. Just draw in the couple branches that are in front of it to make it look more real. There's also something funky actually. Now that I'm looking at it, there's something funky on its shoulder that is being covered up by the twigs. It looks different in the way that it interacts with where the neck should be than the other shoulder that isn't being interfered with by the twigs.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that this is something that was just photoshopped in.
Well, they said that they uncovered it. It says Photoshop in the data.
Right.
So,
but what I'm saying is there's a whole bunch of like inconsistencies
Yeah.
that kind of show that I don't think this is something that was physically there.
and
Or if
again,
it was something like a stump that they used to build off of with the gorilla
maybe,
face.
and
whatnot.
again, like you said, this might only be 3 inches of water, so you'd see some
Yeah.
more of his body. But why only take one picture? Dear
Oh,
God,
sure,
if I was there,
sure.
I'd be snapping pictures until the thing attacked.
Why
Yeah,
not do a video?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. If it's going to take you out, you might as well go out in a flurry.
It just makes sure tracking's on your phone so somebody
That's
can
right.
find it. And
Then they
become
could double
famous.
prove Bigfoot and have a really good horror movie.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so the next one Colin sent me.
Oh,
It's an
these are great.
it's an old photograph about a UFO case. Colin, you want to say anything about it?
I don't remember all the details about the pictures, but I know what the pictures are. So these are proven definitively fake, and they predate computers.
Yeah. They now I read a little bit on Wikipedia about this when I was looking at these. Some people say that it's wires hanging to suspend this object. They did have more than one picture. Um, but some forensics guy supposedly looked at the picture and analyzed it to say that there's another picture. Let me pull that one up. There's this picture, which he said, based on the wires and everything, the converging lines in the picture, that he didn't think this one was fake. but like Colin said, they've pretty much determined it's fake wires holding something up.
Yeah, I think somebody also said one of the photographs might have actually been taken inside their car. There's some might have been something hanging from the rear view mirror, even, you know.
Yeah.
But
The one. No, I'm thinking of Damski's. Never mind. Continue. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm getting my fake UFO photos mixed up.
but Stephen and Gina, when we were kids, if you can remember, they used to do whole series on television about these UFOs. Like this was the basis for an actual program to prove the authenticity of extraterrestrials.
Yeah, I do remember.
So, but I'll include a link here to the Wikipedia page. People can look at it if they've not heard of this. I mean, it's got some good, talking about it, and it shows that it's difficult because people get divided. Some people see one thing, some people think, oh, I can fake it this way. And that's the thing. Back then with these cameras, something like this probably was easier to fake because it's easier to hide the wires. The distance, that's the other problem with something in the sky. How far away is that object? Is it a bug that's an inch away, or is it a 5 mile long ship that's 10 miles away? You can't tell when it's up in the sky like that. So that calls into question a lot of the stuff in the sky.
I mean, you could also say that about just kind of UFO sightings and big bird sightings in general.
Right.
You don't have a frame of reference to determine the size or the distance of the object.
Right. And that's, again, one of the problems. And Gene always yells at me because we'll watch some of those videos online or whatever. And I'm like, what? They stopped recording? The thing went the other way and they stopped. I'm like, run after it. Keep recording. Show me more. I'd believe that a lot more. But, people are like, oh, there it goes. Okay.
That's it. I'm out of here, guys.
Yeah. She tells me I'm crazy.
Well,
Go ahead, Gina. Go ahead.
Yes, for me, watching all those different videos, I do agree and say the same thing. How are you going to take a photo or a 10-second video? Okay, I get that you would be afraid. I'm not going to chase Bigfoot down in the woods. I'm going to just leave him alone and let him do his thing. But these people who are out there doing it, you got a 2-second video of it or a still photo that's fuzzy and you can't really make it out. I don't, come on. We have enough technology today that there could be,
Yeah, I thought about that as well too. And I don't think that I would chase one either. But you know what I would do is I would wait till it's out of the area and then go down and point the camera to the ground to at least show tracks or the way that it came through. Some sort of other evidence would have been left behind if something walked through there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I love like all the ghost hunting shows when they go into a haunted house. And this is even amateur ones on YouTube and stuff. The first thing they do is go, oh, I feel it feels oppressive. It feels evil in here. And I'm like, oh, that's so easy to say on a video because you can't, or, oh, do you smell something? It smells bad. Again, it doesn't help on a video.
No, it doesn't help.
Okay. So this next one, this is one of the newer ones.
Yes.
Little baby dinosaur. I got my camera blocking the play. All right. So,
and ladies and gentlemen, another cryptid out of Florida.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think being in Florida lends some credibility to it because Florida's wacko, man.
It is wacko.
So I like it because they show it backwards first, or they think it's backwards, and then they show it a couple different ways. And then they show it backwards again.
Now, Stephen, how difficult is it to fake something on a security camera?
It's a still image, essentially.
Okay.
So with a little more work, I'm going to try and do something like this to show you a fake video that me with my
Excellent.
amateur skills did. I just haven't had the time to do it yet.
Nice.
It's not that hard. The hard part is getting the light to match up with the light around it. That's the hardest part. But again, the tools and skills that kids are learning at school to become professionals, they they could do all of that from there, and someone that spends enough time could do that. But that doesn't even need to be with this one particularly. Here's the problem. This will never be a definitive, oh my God, there is a baby dinosaur. We just saw it. Not this video. It's a second and a half long. It's a very bad angle, and the camera's not really great at night. There's not enough light. And so many people can see so many things. So this supposed tail doesn't look like a tail right now. I thought actually at one point it looked like a fox running through. It's just the night light didn't pick up the bushy tail. But what's this white thing? It's like something attached to its head. So is the baby dinosaur rooting around in the trash? You know,
someone in the comments, I think of the Facebook post that I originally saw this, suggested it was a dog with a winter coat on, and it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And I like that they showed this backwards and forwards, whichever way is actually the right way, because it gives it a different way. It looks different when you do that. You know, a lot of these don't look, you know what? This looks like a cat that got its head stuck in a
stuck in a can. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, or a possum.
Possum, maybe.
Yep.
Well, the only thing
that's
I'd say,
possible.
only thing I'd say with a possum, it does look a little bigger than a possum, and it moves faster. As long as the video isn't sped up, that's the other thing.
I initially thought that it was an iguana, one of those imported ones. But gosh darn it, guys, after you've been talking about this, actually see a cat. It looks like, what is it, a styrofoam cup or something like that? It might
Maybe.
Yeah.
It does look a little bigger than like our cats. If I'm getting the perspective right with the light thing and stuff here, and I can see how there's one frame like right in here where it does look a little bit dinosaur like. I can see that, but over right there is a good one. But overall, I don't think. Plus the iguana, I know you guys mentioned iguana. I was looking for videos of iguanas running, and I found bearded dragons, but not iguanas, and they drag their tails.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, what were you gonna say?
Where does it exit the other side of the fence? What does it go through? A hole or something on the other side?
I think that's just the edge of the yard. It just.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It goes back in time to the dinosaur times.
we can't tell because again, it's not that good quality. Now, the best thing would be a second camera and a third camera, but people aren't going to set up $5,000 worth of cameras on the hopes they catch a good video. So I get that. But I know everybody went a little crazy over this one. But again, it's so doubtful and there's so many questions. It makes you go, yeah, it's probably not. It makes.
But everybody wants baby dinosaurs to be real.
If not a mammoth, baby dinosaurs, those raptors, they're cute.
Until they tear your face off.
That's our cats are going crazy.
Everyone has flaws.
Okay, so this next one, and Gina, you'll recognize some of the things in this picture. So this next one, we've been getting a lot out of the Pentagon confirming that UFOs are real, confirming aliens exist. They made an announcement last year about that, and here they've released some pictures that they verify are unidentified.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta clarify a couple things.
Good.
One, they've been dumping lots of their photos and files. Yes. June 1st, we're getting an even larger photo and file dump. People are losing their minds. They think, oh my God, we're gonna get disclosure. I don't think we're going to get disclosure because I don't think the Navy knows or thinks aliens are real. They have not said they are that aliens exist and they're visiting the US. What they're saying is here's a bunch of weird stuff we've caught on camera. My only thing to say about this is the Navy and other branches of the military must constantly get unidentified
Oh,
flying
yeah.
objects, not because there's weird spaceships or whatever going through the sky, but because they have millions and millions of cameras pointed every which way. Inevitably they're going to get weird stuff, whether it's camera malfunctions or known things just looking weird on the camera or what. They're going to get weird stuff.
Yes.
So just because the Navy releases photos and videos of things that they say we aren't sure what this is does not mean aliens.
Okay,
I feel the need to clarify.
Let me say though, I will look for the articles again. Last year there was some meeting at the Pentagon and some senators came out and said we were told aliens are real. They made that announcement in something last year. It was several articles I saw. I will look for those. We can talk about that on a later show, and see if I can find those. But this is something, it's unknown. I don't have a problem saying that it's unknown, but doesn't mean it's alien. It's just we've seen some other videos and pictures very similar to this recently.
I found what you were talking about. It was one government official.
Well, then he must be telling the truth, right?
He
Can't
was
hear him.
saying
you're muted now, kiddo.
He was saying basically that aliens are here. They signed a contract to do experiments here. There's an underground base in the depths of Mars. All kinds of crazy stuff. And this guy wasn't an American official. He's he used to run Israel's defense ministry.
Got it.
We have had several high-ranking military officials from around the world claim about UFOs and stuff, but it's never been proven. They've never been able to prove things, and most of the time they have conflicting stories that they've told themselves or between each other. So just because one dude that has government contacts is saying these things doesn't mean that it's actually aliens.
And I can go for that. And I know we've probably all seen the videos released from the pilots with the fast moving objects they've had recently. That it's interesting. Doesn't make it alien, but
that one with the test fighter jet from Puerto Rico that we watched at the AG, the breakdown for like 2 hours just about that video, that was interesting.
right.
I will say that was really cool.
Yeah,
that was neat.
And that's the thing. All we need is one or two that you can't discredit so easily. And coming from a pilot in the Air Force and looking at the actual what they see, that to me lends a little bit more credibility to it. All right, so here's the granddaddy that started it all. Oh, it's highlighted. Oh, it's still loading. Sorry. Oh, it's jumping. Sorry, I should have loaded it earlier.
This is why we can't have nice things. This is just a piece of it.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
And it's stabilized.
Yeah. I sent the non-stabilized as well.
So this is the Patterson Gimlin, which probably there's no piece of footage that has been reviewed more than this one. Here, let me get the other one. So because it's so old,
I loaded it up specifically where it started because there was some other pieces of footage from the trip.
Oh, well, that's cool. Like that?
Yeah, that's where it starts.
Right. So the thing about this one is it's very old and it's been looked at a long time before we could have done computer graphic faked. So
I'd also like to point out that both of these are actually zoomed in
Yeah.
from the actual video. I could not find an actual full scale one. Bigfoot, the Patty, the subject of the video, is very, very small in the original.
Right.
Like this is a lot closer to the original scale, but it's still pretty large.
And
Yeah.
to me, this is to explain what this one is. It's the things we can do with our tech now. So they essentially frame by frame ran this footage through image enhancers because obviously it looks clearer. And then they stabilized it. They matched up where the tree was and got it so the video didn't jump around and move like in what the original really was, with it all jumpy.
Because Patterson was like hauling ass trying to go and catch up and get a better
Right.
thing at the, and actually after it walks past the trees, there's another like minute of Patterson running trying to catch up to the thing, and as far as I know, he doesn't see it again.
And I know that could be acting, and I know it could be a guy in a monkey suit because back in what 67, that's what they would have had to do. But the fact that they have film before and after, and that he went running after it, to me, we've met Gimlin. I don't know if that makes it any more believable.
If Roger Patterson faked the film, Gimlin was not involved at all. If Patterson faked the film, Gimlin was the patsy. He was the person that accompanied him that believed to be able to say, no, I was there. We didn't fake it at all. I'm not saying Patterson faked it. I'm saying I do not believe for a second that Gimlin was involved with the faking if it occurred.
Yeah. Well, the only thing to me is that Patterson left that morning. He left the camp and he was gone for a while. That's the thing that gets me. So already it's setting me up a little bit, that there might have been something. And he also told Gimlin specifically not to fire at the thing unless it would turn on him. And then they would go out and set out to try to capture this. And it just seems too serendipitous that it all came together at that one time. He left, he gave orders not to shoot on it. And also, like Colin said as well, too, the quality of the camera, they were almost up on top of this thing. They were, very, very close to this creature. It wasn't like this is 100 yards away. They were very close to this.
So, no, they were pretty far away. It was further. The thing was like 100 yards, and then further there was a creek there, and the thing was walking away from the creek, and the creek, as far as I know, was 100 to 150 yards away. It was a significant distance.
Well, see, the last time I did any kind of research into this, some people were stating they were about anywhere from 30 to 50 feet away from the thing. Yeah. And that's one of the things. If that is indeed the case, if they were that extremely close, then there's a lot of things that come into play on this.
I also would like to point out that Patterson did have connections in the film industry, and he supposedly had connections to John Chambers, the guy that designed the ape suits for Planet of the Apes. And those were the most technologically advanced ape costumes that had ever been made, to the point where they still hold up and look pretty realistic today. So there have been arguments. There was an entire book written arguing that Chambers made the suit. Bob Hieronymus, a local that had worked with Patterson in the past, wore the suit, and that Gimlin was the unknowing witness. I don't know if I buy it, because because on one hand, I completely understand that argument and it makes sense to me, but on the other hand, I have sat with Jeff Meldrum for 2 hours while he broke down the entire film and explained why it had to have been an 8 foot tall ape thing, and how the swing of the breasts of the animal couldn't have been faked, and how the shine of the coat couldn't have been faked. And I don't know where to sit on this film, to be completely honest.
Well, from my tech point of view, I think it's pretty amazing that we've got the technology to take that old of footage and clean it up and make it look like this one.
As far as I know, with the stabilized one that we were playing, they actually were allowed access to the original film strip,
right,
and used that to stabilize it. So this is like the clearest we've ever gotten of this thing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Another question: did they get any footprints? Did they see any film? Any?
Yeah, they have footprints. They have casts of the footprints. Jeff Meldrum has the footprints. Well, copies of the casts. And if you look, one of the frames, when she's walking away, you see the back of her foot, and Meldrum has used that to. He says he's concluded that they were made of the same foot. So it's not like they filmed the creature and then made the footprints using a different thing, because the feet of the creature were different. You know, if the creature was faked, the suit had to have had the type of like feet designed to leave those types of footprints.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let me just give you a real quick thing. So Patterson estimated that the film was shot within 25 feet of the creature. And then there was someone that did some video analysis and said that the figure was probably 60 to 90 feet away. So we're talking about as close as home plate to the pitcher's mound or home plate to first base. So we were extremely close.
Got it. And, you know, it's been the biggest talked about video, regardless of all the other videos.
This is the reason why I got into Bigfoot, right? I mean, seeing this image, this is what got me into it.
Saw this when I was a kid.
Exactly. And I thought, see the thing, and I know what Jeff Meldrum was talking about, because I've seen his talks as well too. It moves like it belongs there, and it looks like it belongs there, contrary to what Todd Standing's Bigfoot looks like whenever he does his videos. This creature looks like it belongs in this environment. But it just may have been a really lucky day for him, is all I'm saying. It might have been one of those things where everything fell into place. But yeah, going back to with what you guys said about Bob Giblin, I'm sure that he was not involved in this at all. But it's such an interesting thing, and I really want to believe that it is a Bigfoot. I would love to.
Yeah, but again, like any of these, none of these are going to be the definitive proof that there's always going to be some question. There's always going to be some people that could point out what could be a problem. Oh, one of the other tech things, Ron, we talked about this and getting like a plaster cast. Josh Gates has that new Expedition X show we watched. The new iPad Pros have LiDAR built into them.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know.
So I was like, that's perfect. You could get the LiDAR of the footprint and then still do a plaster cast.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
Yep. You know, and I think that's great. Again, there's some good tech out there, and I think utilizing it may make a difference.
Now, I do want to ask Gina. Gina, what is your impression of what you're seeing on the screen in the Patterson Gimlin film?
I mean, for me personally, when you guys mention all of their names, it's not. I mean, when I was a little kid, I just remember watching this on like Mutual of Omaha for the first time. Or what was the other one? Jacques Cousteau, when they would, they literally went over it as a kid when I was a kid, and saying that, this creature's out there. Can you believe it? When I was a kid, I was like, I just assumed Bigfoot was out there. All of his family, they were, running wild in the woods. And as I got older, I realized, he's very elusive, this creature. But I didn't know, this is the first time I've ever seen the cleaned up version of it. And that's actually pretty fantastic in my opinion. I mean, if they created a suit, who was the guy that you said did the Planet of the Apes? I mean,
John Chambers.
That's beautiful. I mean, I could see, if that's where that came from, but I'm seeing the video cleaned up. I think that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
agree.
the other thing too, though, is how tall did they say this creature is?
Estimates, I think actually looking back, it's like 7'2".
I mean, because it moves pretty swiftly for how big it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, generally big things move move slower. That's pretty much how like the physics of their.
And this is moving. So if it's whatever, whether it's an actual Bigfoot or if it's a person in a costume like that, that if there's a human in there that was faking this wearing some type of costume, that would be pretty impressive too, because you know,
So
he's
okay,
speed there.
Patterson ended up estimating that it was about 7'6". But Grover Krantz, one of the foremost Bigfoot experts, when he analyzed the film, he said that he was pretty sure that it was about 6'6", and Gimlin's estimate was about 6 feet. So it looks like it's actually shorter than 7 foot, because
Okay.
I'll trust Grover Krantz's word over the two guys that were there, to be completely honest, because I mean, Krantz was he was the guy that trained Jeff Meldrum in all of this analysis stuff. He knew how to tell really well, and he was actually he visited the exact location that this film was shot before basically everything on the screen like went away. Like all these trees have been changed and there's bushes everywhere now. It's a very, very different environment today, or even 20 years ago, than it was closer to when the film was shot, when Krantz visited the location
And
at Bluff Creek.
What you mentioned there, Colin, that's another problem with all of these is the Dogman or Chupacabra is probably a good example. When someone says, "Oh my gosh, look, I got a video of a Chupacabra running across the field," then suddenly every weird thing that people see, they see a Chupacabra. They report they saw a Chupacabra. And are they lying? Not necessarily, because our brain filters and we get that in our head. So that's what we see. And very well could be exactly what they saw, but that doesn't always mean that's exactly what it was. And that's another problem with the videos and reports. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you for coming to my presentation.
You know, this was look, I enjoyed this. I cannot wait till comes back out and I can actually watch this again. This was quite enjoyable.
I'll put links to all this stuff in there so we can look at them and stuff.
Ron, when you were looking up how far away they were, I was looking up how far they were because I wasn't sure what the actual answer was. No. So thanks for pointing that out. And
oh no, hey, look, this works so well because everybody. Look, we need to have this kind of cryptic collective or gosh darn it, I gotta write. We need to have this cryptic collective. Is that correct?
Yes.
We need to have this because we all bring something to the table, and I think that makes awesome entertainment. And we're getting to the bottom of these things. And I'm thinking that big giant spider was real.
That's the only one I believe. So I know this is going to air afterwards, but this weekend, Ron, you're doing a talk, and we're going to come and listen and join you.
I'm excited, guys. I really am. I'll be talking on witches, and we'll probably put something up on our site, though, so at least some people will be able to share in it as well.
Yes, and I added it to your website.
Oh, I cannot wait. We'll have a link to all kinds of things on that.
Yep. And then in a couple weeks, we're going to go out to Gretchen's Lock. And
that's right.
Colin's doing some research on that. We're going to do a pre-show before we go out there about some of the history and some of the things people have reported and even what it could be and that type of thing. And then once we go out, we'll actually do a post-visit episode.
Right. And the other thing we have to add though too is Colin's getting back to the swing of things as well. Yeah, he has his page up and running again, and he asked some great questions. So I would encourage everybody to steer over in that direction as well too.
I'll put links to both your guys' sites. Colin mentioned the little project you're doing right now.
Oh, Yeah, it's going to be an ongoing thing. I don't know how frequently I'm going to post things. I've sent it out to about 12 people right now. Only one has responded. Thanks, Ron. Well, a couple people have responded, but they're saying, okay, it'll take me a little bit before I get the answers to you, which is fine. I'm in no rush. But basically, what I'm doing is I'm sending the same 5 questions to the widest variety of researchers I possibly can concerning cryptozoology. And basically what I'm asking them is questions targeted to look at their thoughts and feelings on the state of cryptozoology today, where the field is going, how it's evolved over time, stuff like that. It's just 5 questions, and I think that once I get 20 people, 30 people having done this, it'll be a really great way to contrast and compare the different types of approaches when you look at what these people specialize in and what they work on and stuff. I'm very excited. I've asked people such as Sharon Hill, who's very much a skeptic. She writes for Skeptical Inquirer and all kinds of stuff. I've asked